Hey, it started as a fun joke, but now Kyle Whittingham to Michigan might be a real thing, and it's really good for the Big 12. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. I will make the case with TJ Pittenger that he was forced out of Utah, but the word forced doesn't mean exactly what you think it does, and I have sources that have backed it up, and it's not a bad thing. I can explain all that, but Utah fans keep saying he wasn't pushed out. He kind of, like, by definition was, but here's why that will make more sense once you allow me to explain. And this is really good for the Big 12 to have a coach, two coaches in the Michigan conversation. 3 coaches when it comes to Michigan and Penn State. I guess 4 with Kalani Sitake as well. Then West Virginia. Their football team is rolling secretly, quietly in the shadows. No one's talking about it except for me. Get ready, because I'm going to. And then BYU and Notre Dame. Huge for the Big 12 Conference. Really good for the Big 12 Conference. This shows the league will be put on a platform next year in the regular season that it didn't really get as much this year in the non-conference. And it's great for everybody involved. It's going to prove the same way Texas Tech is going to prove against Oregon that this league is legit. All right, TJ, if you hit subscribe, you get to keep my job. Let's not delay any longer. Hit them.
And Drake, there's been a big change that we haven't gotten really a chance to discuss too much with some change in leadership over at Utah.
Yeah, there's a new head coach. and I mean, when the guy who's been there for 20 years is gone, usually it's not controversial if that guy retires. You're like, all right, great, he retired. But this is a very rare circumstance. By the way, people are like, oh, this guy's recording from his parents' basement. I am. I absolutely. I do my best work in a sweater from my parents' basement. And this is where I've been, blanket over my head, just typing away at my computer, wondering what in the world is going on with Kyle Whittingham. So I called a bunch of people. And here's what I found out. That Whittingham a few years ago said effectively, like, hey, the age of 65 is kind of when I'm going to want to hang it up, somewhere in there. Let's go ahead and put Morgan Scalley in place to be the head coach in waiting. This was quite a few years ago. Scalley's in place to do that. Then he allegedly sends some racy texts, and from there, he's no longer the head coach in waiting. Then give it a few years, he's back as the head coach in waiting. So that's already weird. Morgan Scalley, being the defensive coordinator, is ready to go. Last season, Whittingham was fairly clear with people, like, hey, this is probably it for me. He comes around, that wasn't it. He's like, hey, we were 5-7. We lost to BYU. One more year. And I don't think Scalley loved it, which, TJ, if I told you, hey, you're the co-host of College Football Addiction for 5 years, and then year 6, you get to be the lead host of College Football Addiction. You're like, great, year 6 is going to be awesome. Year 6 came around for Scalley, and he's like, well, you told me I could be the head coach. And then he didn't get to be it. Then this year ends. And after Whittingham in the press conferences in the summer, TJ said, yeah, I was going to retire. Like, I'm tired. I'm probably ready to go. This year ends. And he's like, just kidding. I think I still want to do this a little bit longer. So, TJ, here's what happens. Whittingham goes to the donor base and says, hey, you guys have been in my back pocket. You're my friends. We're good at this. Can you support me in making this decision? The donors are fairly split on it. And the University of Utah is clear. We're done playing the cat and mouse game. We appreciate what you've done. You're a statue coach. You're a Hall of Famer, but we can't keep doing this. It's Scalley's turn. So when I say that Utah pushed him out or forced him out, it's really only from his own volition. Like, he told them this was the timeline, and he's not met that timeline. So what happened is this really awkward deal where Whittingham's like, hey, okay, well, then I guess I'm stepping down, but I'm not retiring. I want to keep coaching. I want to keep going. I have fire left under my butt. And the Michigan job's open. And Michigan cannot seem to land their guy. Right now, it's so late in the coaching carousel. And by the way, a dumpster fire from your athletic director down, your entire athletic department. You've got the coaches allegedly hacking into players' social media accounts to find lewd photographs to blackmail them, right? Like, there are so many things, alleged things, that are happening at Michigan that someone has to put those fires out. Kyle Whittingham is the perfect guy to do that. And with Kenny Dillingham turning it down, the closer we get, the more I'm seeing from from multiple sources. Kalshi even has him number 1 in the odds race right now to be the next head coach. And we know Kalshi knows things. They do.
They figure it out.
He's number 1 in the odds right now to be the Michigan head coach. It would be the perfect move for the Wolverines.
Tell me a little bit about just your thoughts on Morgan Scalley. Ironically, I just did a video, and so I'll link that at the end for anybody watching that wants to get my take. I'll talk about it a little bit here, but somebody that is just more intimately connected with the Big 12 understands things over on that side. I don't want to rehash all of my thoughts there. I'll just link that video later. Just talk about big picture. Is this like a drop-off situation to you? Are you really confident in Scalley because he's kind of been in that system? Just thoughts overall on the direction that he'll take this program.
I don't think people who say, oh, Scalley's just another Whittingham, he's just another extension of Whittingham, people that say that, they say it confidently as if that's a good thing. I think they're ignorant a bit to who Morgan Scalley is. He's not just going to be a carbon copy of Kyle Whittingham. He's not necessarily the tried and true disciple. Scalley is a Utah man to his core. Whittingham has had an interesting coaching career, an interesting path. Played football at BYU, got his start at BYU, became the Utah guy. Now he's kind of that evil rival, and that's our native son who left us to coach the Utes. It's a really interesting path, and I don't think Morgan Scalley is going to be on that. He's going to come in and do things his own way. He's going to try to build this staff his own way. And from all I've heard, at least half the staff, if not more, is really confident in seeing Scalley thrive and sticking around with him at Utah and committing to Scalley and his vision. He's built a really good defense during his tenure as the defensive coordinator there, and he's built a lot of great connections over his decades at Utah. So I'm fine with Scalley being promoted. I think that it keeps continuity in your program. Less guys transfer out. There's not a huge rebuild and restructure. He can win next year better than I think a brand new head coach could, or a guy who doesn't know the program or has been out of the program for a while could. That said, TJ, I get a little leery of that when I think about if Whittingham takes this Michigan job, calling his assistants and saying, okay, is it me or is it Scalley? Who are you going with? Because if it's Scalley, great, stay at Utah, whatever. If it's me, come to Michigan, I'll pay you $1 million more. You can be the offensive coordinator at the University of Michigan. If that happens, we're having a much different conversation in a week's time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like Scalley overall, and I didn't really factor in the Whittingham to Michigan kind of wild card that it could throw in there. But I do like Scalley overall because I do think he's different than Whittingham. I do think his personality is very different. I think he's got a little more, this is not against Whittingham. I think Whittingham's just obviously legendary, but just a little more of that fire.
Gusto? Is that what you're going for here?
Well, listen, I don't mean to relate everything back to FSU, but
there we go. Do it.
But like when Jimbo took over and had that time under him, Jimbo was a completely different coach than Bobby Bowden was.
Yeah.
But he got to learn under Bowden. And even though Bowden was at the end of his tenure and the success wasn't necessarily the same as it was for Kyle at the end, and Bowden was obviously much older and, let's be honest, had more success than Kyle did. And Bowden kind of built that program from the ground up. I do think it was advantageous that Jimbo was a completely different person, didn't try to be Bowden 2.0. I think so many times when people take over for a legend, they try to just kind of keep that wheel rolling the same way the other guy did. It's almost like you've got to take the foundation, you've got to take the program and the structure, and then don't try to, you don't want to recreate the wheel so much, but you also don't want to just be a carbon copy. You want to be your own guy, right? And so to me, that is where Scalley has an advantage because he has Utah roots that are deeper than just Whittingham, right? I think that is helpful. I think that he can have a lot of success and this can be a really good transition. Listen, you know about transition seasons. We see them in college football everywhere. Summerall is going to get one at Florida. Golish is going to get one at Auburn. I don't know that Lane's going to get one at LSU. They're going to expect quite a bit, up front. But if they go 9-3 the first year, that would be fine even at LSU. I don't think it's like you got to win the national title or bust. So you get transition years. You get a little bit of a lowered expectation. Whoever Florida State hires after Norvell will get that time to kind of rebuild it. I don't think there will be as much of a rebuild at Utah. I think they'll be, I mean, think about it right now. Who are the favorites to win the Big 12 next year? Well, the top three are going to be Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah again.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. Yeah. The expectation is going to be for them to end the streak against BYU and go to the Big 12 championship and play their way into a conference champion, into a college football playoff. So I think all of that is really good news for Utah from that side. The wild card that you mentioned is if Whittingham ends up at Michigan, that could throw a wrench in the plans.
Yeah. And again, as of today, when we're recording this on Monday, December 22nd, he's number one. It's about to get crazy if Kyle Whittingham goes to Michigan. And I think it's a win for Michigan. I think it's a win for Whittingham since he wants to continue coaching. Imagine you are quasi forced out of your school of 20 years and you wind up at one of the best coaching jobs in America in a blue blood. Like that's a really good landing spot for Whit to help clean things up over in Ann Arbor. Hey, today's show is brought to you by GameTime. GameTime is exactly where I go to get tickets to see the Utah Utes play next season. I can save so much money on GameTime. Nothing like college football. The tailgates, the packed stadiums, being right in the middle of it, all the energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. Actually getting tickets, that part used to be frustrating. Long queues, logins, prices, jumping at checkout, but not with GameTime. Open the app and look at the upcoming college football schedule, even in 2026, and it is incredible to use. The zone deals stand out. You pick the section, GameTime picks the seats, you save even more. Seeing college football tickets starting as low as $25. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the GameTime app. Download GameTime. Go to GameTime. Do it today. With the second year of the second tenure of Rich Rod coming up, West Virginia's got some good news going on. Yeah, man. So, TJ, if I asked you who are the top three teams in the Big 12 in 2025, who would you say? This is an easy question, TJ. BYU, Texas Tech, Utah. No way. Bang, right? So you would think they'd be the top three probably in recruiting for 2026, right? This signing class just came in. What if I told you, number one, Texas Tech? Shocker? No. Number two, BYU? No. Yeah, that makes sense. The number three, West Virginia Mountaineers are building a program in Morgantown, baby. I got chills just now, TJ, thinking about how good there are some programs. Oh, TJ, can I go here? I'm going to do this to you. Do it. When Wake Forest is good at college football, no one cares. It's cool for me, and I think it's good and it's cute. And it's like, oh, Wake Forest is good. Awesome. You root for the little guy, right? When Indiana's good, it's fun to root for the little guy. When West Virginia is good at college football, the nation rejoices. Like it's just this different feeling of like, yeah, everybody loves West Virginia. They just signed recruiting class of 40. They have 49 commitments in the class of 2026. For perspective, Texas Tech has 21. BYU has 21. Now, BYU has 7 4-stars. It's the most of any team in this league. They did a really, really good job with this next class. I can talk on them a little bit. Texas Tech on them a little bit. Utah is at 4. They did a very good job as well with this class. But this was a West Virginia team that said, you know what? We're going to go in here and we're going to completely revamp this team. And we're not just going to utilize the transfer portal. We will do what Texas Tech did. What Tech has done is build homegrown players that compete for starting spots. They come out of high school. What Tech will do that Michigan and Alabama and Penn State aren't willing to do is they say, hey, those schools will give a high school kid $200,000 in NIL. We'll give you $300,000, $400,000. We'll take a chance on you and mold you, and then we'll create with the transfer portal. That is a way for us to plug and play, to create competition. We're not going to use the transfer portal necessarily to build our whole roster and win. West Virginia is saying the same thing. We are going to use the Texas Tech model. We're going to bring in our guys from the high school ranks, give them more money, have more investment in football, and we're going to win with our guys. And then when we see, hey, our left tackle, our right tackle, our wide receiver room, our running back room, our corners, our safeties just aren't up to snuff, which Rich Rodriguez was very clear this last year. His running back room was not tough enough. We are going to go to the transfer portal, grab a guy or two, and create competition. It does not mean that transfer is going to play. It means they're going to create competition that allows our guys in-house to get better, or our team team to get better when we do start the guy who's a transfer. They got a lot of high caliber 3-star players, a smattering of 4-star guys as well. They're coming in for West Virginia. And this is just different. I mean, I'm looking down the list of Big 12 teams, like Iowa State, really, really bad. 16th in the Big 12. Only 9 guys that are coming in out of this class so far. Oklahoma State trying to put it together. Both of those teams lost their head coaches and are trying to figure it out. UCF and Baylor. Colorado even had really bad recruiting cycles. But for West Virginia, they said, look, we're not as big of a brand. We know that as Deion Sanders and what Colorado is doing, right? We haven't had the same success in the last 5-10 years as Oklahoma State or Iowa State, who have been to Big 12 championship games and competed at the top of the conference. We haven't won a Sugar Bowl like Baylor did 5 years ago. But with Rich Rodriguez, we're going to pour the money into it. We're going to compete. And TJ, what fires me up so much about this, I'm about to do it again. You ready for that? I'm going to do it again. Boston College. It's like 8th. No, not even that. That's too much credit. Like 15th on the list of things to do in Boston, right? They're so down the rooting.
It's a great city. But
it's
a
great city.
Right.
They're so far down the rooting list. UCF, I could say the same thing. Orlando, right? The first thing when someone says, hey, we're going to Orlando, you don't think, must be going to a UCF football game, right? Like, yeah, Mickey Mouse, no doubt. There are so many things that push against those programs being able to be the heartbeat of America. West Virginia, the communities, the state, the people, this kind of cliche is thrown out a lot of like, oh, it's the coal miners. No, like TJ, it's the coal miners. Like we don't just throw that around. There are people legitimately working in the coal mines. Now it's not the pickaxe and tattered clothes that you would think. Like, it's a little more modern than that. But these are people that rely on West Virginia football to prop themselves up on the weekends where life just isn't always that fun. And the fact that there's hope for that fan base gives me a lot of hope for the Big 12 and college football, because West Virginia fans, hold on to this. West Virginia is back.
I have talked about, it's weird, and I don't mean to be repetitive with it, but it is weird, like my affinity for West Virginia.
Isn't it fun though? They're fun to love.
You know why? It's because I hated them back in the day. Now I respected, but living in Tampa and being a USF guy back in the glory to the Big East, I couldn't stand them because it was just such a good rivalry. I never disliked their fans. Their fans were actually always fine and nice when they would come down to Tampa. But I just remember back, it's the nostalgia of my early formative years. Like when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, watching those teams play with Pat White and Steve Slate and all these guys. I love West Virginia. Like, they are so much fun to me. And I love Rich Rod back in the day. Again, loved is maybe the wrong word. I respected Rich Rod back in the day. It's so much fun to see them do well and do things well. And so I have got like this weird affinity that was born out of a rivalry for West Virginia, because now they don't play USF anymore. So I feel like I don't have to hate them anymore. I've talked to you about this. To be able to recruit at that level, not only points to the coaching, but it also points to the investment. Like, it takes an investment to be able to recruit in today's football. And we may love that or we may hate that. Fans of West Virginia may say, I'd rather listen. There are some kids that are going to put on your team's colors for any program because they love your team. There are a lot of kids that you've got to invest in, and that's part of the game now. And that's why we have revenue sharing. And that's why we have an NIL, and that's why we have all these other things. Where is that investment level in your mind? Maybe within the Big 12?
It is top 5 for sure. I would put them squarely at number 4 right now, just because we haven't seen it come to fruition yet. It's going to. Ren Baker has stayed as the athletic director. He has also said clearly they are reinvesting in sports like nobody else. Like, they are going to make this thing a West Virginia powerhouse in football, especially. And the donors are on board. The fan base is on board. But TJ, Texas Tech still won. I'm watching it live. Like, I'm seeing them reap the benefits of it. BYU is at 2 right now because of what they have done over the course of the last 2 years and their investment in basketball, even, and how football has grown. Then Utah just got $500 million in their back pocket, or whatever it may be in this new era of selling off your private equity. We give you money back. I don't know how it's all going to work. I haven't seen the proof of the concept yet, but it sounds pretty good. It's going to put money in Utah Utah's pockets and help them win in football. West Virginia's in that 4 spot. And look, they could climb as high as 2. I don't think they will become Texas Tech quite yet, but we could see the next year or two West Virginia be the second best program, athletic department in the Big 12 Conference as far as donations, money, NIL, because the state is bought in. When they all buy in and say, fine, we're going to do it. We're going to win. We're going to make this happen. It'll be a very dangerous thing. West Virginia can become one of the powerhouses of the Big 12, and I would love to see it. I would genuinely love to see that from the Mountaineers, and I think their fan base deserves it.
Feels like a hierarchy in the Big 12 of a clear top 3.
I think so.
And that 4th spot is wide open for grabs. Wide open for the team and the program that wants to go out and grab that.
And it's not Iowa State. They've said they've got financial problems. It's not Arizona State. Their head coach just said, please give us money. Yeah. Somebody out there,
Kansas State, new coach. Like, think about all of them, right? Like, there's a lot. Now, it is open. So I don't think you want to let one of those mega billionaires in Phoenix or something to go step up and take it, or let Arizona go grab it, or just any of these programs. But to me, it's pretty open. Yeah. And West Virginia feels like they're the best fit for that. Hey, and they need to jump up and take it. And
you just wait, TJ. When I win that lottery, that $1.2 billion,
it's 1.6 now.
The Baylor Bears are about to get sneaky good. We're all really confused.
Can I borrow $58 million? I have a very specific need in Tallahassee, Florida. And by borrow, I mean just have it. But when you hit it for $1.6 billion, I need $58 million.
As long as I can do the Biff Poggy and just be so rich that I'd name myself the head coach, I would take that. I would take that.
Deal.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go during the NFL season or the NBA season. I don't love the NBA. I don't love watching the NBA. I don't. If you love the Jazz, they're not that great. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes. But with GameTime, with FanDuel, with all of these sponsors that we're giving you today, you're not just watching the game. You're either there, and when you're there, you're reacting to it in real time. Live betting with FanDuel is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, and the momentum flips after a turnover in football, or that big 3 is knocked down in basketball. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com, place your bet. Live bet on the NFL season all year long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you with FanDuel.
I appreciate you, Drake. Go subscribe to Locked On Big 12 if you're watching this on the Addiction channel. And if you didn't see the first part of the 3-part series I'm doing on Utah, you can click the video on the screen right now to watch it. Transitioning over to BYU. And before we get into this news, I grabbed this. So when I have you on to talk about anything, my screen is not full screen. Like, there is actually, like, I can even move it a little bit. There's other stuff there. For people that only tune in to see me and Drake, like, there is other stuff on the wall. Like, it's not just a perfect square. I took something off the wall, Drake, because what we should have gotten this bowl season was the matchup we're going to talk about in the most prestigious bowl anywhere, and that is the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like, I know people like really enjoy it. So we're not going to get them in the Pop-Tart Bowl, but we're kind of getting a 2-part Pop-Tart Bowl with Notre Dame and BYU. I don't use props on this show. It's not that kind of show. Today, I use the prop. I use the little Pop-Tart mascot because I am happy that there is some justice for this guy. Go Cougs over Georgia Tech, I hope. But a pretty big scheduling agreement that comes out. And maybe the best part of this isn't even the Pop-Tart. It's the fact that you don't have to schedule games 5 years out or 10 years out. You can literally schedule a game for the next year. A message to every athletic director in the country. I know everybody hates Notre Dame's athletic director at this moment, but props to him and props to BYU. Like, props to both sides for getting this done.
I am happy. This is good. And a piece of this is BYU losing their game with Cal, because Cal and the ACC, that's a dumpster fire. Oh, I can't wait for that Locked On Big 12 college football addiction crossover where we talk about the ACC schedule next year, where some teams don't even play 9 games and others have to. This is because Cal had to drop out, and BYU now hears from Brett Yormark, you still have to play a Power 4 opponent. So the Cougars get on the phone with Notre Dame and say, look, Locked On Big 12 called you cowards. College Football Addiction said Notre Dame's a coward. Do you want to prove Drake and TJ wrong? And Marcus Freeman said yes. So that is, if you've listened to Josh Pate, if Marcus Freeman's the head coach at Notre Dame next year instead of the New York Giants, they said, fine, we will pony up and we'll play this game. BYU has talked ad nauseum for the last couple of months, I guess month now, about how Notre Dame continues to dodge them, about how they've scheduled home and homes before. Notre Dame just says, we're not going to go to Provo. We don't want to do that. And the religious side of that, a lot of the aspects of, okay, does Notre Dame just think that playing BYU on the road would dilute the Fighting Irish and it would ultimately hurt who they are and their brand? Now there's no two ways around it. These teams will play next year in Provo, Utah. And it is great for the Big 12 Conference. It gives you another marquee game for the Big 12 Conference. And it gives BYU another opportunity to show that, hey, we got held out of the college football playoff last year. We disagree with that. We played our bowl game, and now we're going to go play Notre Dame and prove that we are one of the best teams in this sport and deserved to be in the playoff last year and deserve to be in again in 2026. Or, TJ, there's the inverse of that. And it's just as, I don't want to say just as good, but it's what we love about college football. Notre Dame could walk into Provo, win by 14, and we all go, yep, okay. You know, we're going to learn. We're going to learn who's good at college football when these two teams square off, hopefully under the lights of LaVell Edwards Stadium. That is great for the sport. I'll probably be there. I've got to be there, right? Come on. This is a cool opportunity for the Big 12 Conference to play Notre Dame at home, to have a home and home with the Fighting Irish. Look, I know in saying that, and I mentioned this on my show, I'm giving Notre Dame a lot of credit, but they have their own TV network, and it's NBC, right? They deserve credit for the sway they have in college. They convinced the playoff committee to give them their own special rule. Notre Dame is still a pretty big entity in this sport, so the Big 12 Conference having them play a game against BYU is the start of hopefully a good relationship between Notre Dame and this league. And TJ, again, I think the Fighting Irish in the next few years are going to be looking outside of the ACC to find new scheduling partners. I don't foresee them, this is Drake Toll talking, as a full-time member of the Big 12 ever, but I do foresee our conference giving them a pretty soft, easy, fun, nice, advantageous landing spot as a partner for the school in part. So to give them basketball scheduling, to give them baseball and softball, to give them a good connection of 3 or 4 football games every year, that could be a great thing for Notre Dame if the ACC continues to box them out.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense for both parties. And I'll give some credit. I mean, listen, I've been, critical of some of the things Notre Dame has done.
Yeah, Notre Dame did a good thing here. It's surprising.
Yes, This is great. They have now on their schedule, they have Miami, a rematch with Miami, and they have BYU. Yeah. And the rest of the schedule is, it's not insane. And part of that is due to their scheduling. Part of that is due to the fact that, man, a lot of the Big Ten rivalries that they have aren't very good, and a lot of the ACC teams they play aren't very good, right? Like, it's not necessarily Notre Dame's fault that North Carolina is a dumpster fire, or Boston College is a dumpster fire, or Syracuse, or Stanford. Again, Stanford being a rival, those are programs that should at least be somewhat respectable. Yeah. It's not their fault that Michigan State, a team that they've played for years, is not good and has a first-year head coach that we just talked about off air. So, yes, Notre Dame could schedule tougher, but at the same time, they're locked into a lot of these games against programs that are just terrible. And so I do think that this is a good job by Notre Dame, a great job by BYU, helping their out-of-conference schedule, which was atrocious, let's be fair, for next season. It wasn't insanely great this year either. So I do think that this is a good move for both sides. And you are right. I don't see the SEC or the Big Ten giving them a scheduling or schedule agreement like they have with the ACC. I think the Big Ten or the SEC would want to play a little bit more hardball. This is, again, Drake gave his take. I'm giving mine. I could be wrong on this in 6 months. Could be wrong on this in 6 hours. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes down. I'm wrong a lot of the time. I don't see the Big Ten or the SEC kind of caving. And I don't want to say that it would be the Big 12 caving, but I think the SEC and the Big Ten see themselves as too high or powerful of an entity to say, yes, we'll do a scheduling agreement without allowing you to be a full-time member. I just don't see it happening. And I don't know that the ACC will have the opportunity to do it when the deal is up in 2030 or when they can get out of a deal in maybe that 2030 timeline with Florida State, Clemson, and others potentially leave. Are you sticking around an ACC scheduling agreement that doesn't include Florida State, Clemson, and Miami? Like, is there any reason to stick around at that point? Like, you got left out of the playoff this year. You think games against who's the next best, Louisville or NC State? You think that's going to move the needle for the committee? So no, I think Notre Dame will be looking. And when you can include matchups like Texas Tech and BYU and Utah and others, I think that is a big deal. And I think the Big 12 makes a ton of sense for Notre Dame to have a scheduling partnership with, because I don't think the ACC is going to offer enough very soon. And I don't know if the Big 10 and the SEC will actually do it.
If Notre Dame and BYU played, TJ, in that Week 11 slate where Alabama plays Mercer and Oklahoma plays the School of the Blind. Shout out to the Blinds, by the way. Love you. That's not a dig at you.
Somebody got upset one time when I said that on here. They were like, "What's up with the blind?" And I was like,
"It's an old school saying. Always come on."
I know it's 2025, but
if during that week BYU this year had played Notre Dame, we're talking about number 11 playing number 10 in that moment, the winner of that goes to the playoff.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right. So you're adding one more game with an opportunity to put a feather in your hat. Like Notre Dame got to the end of the year, they said, okay, of your 10-game win streak, who in that was good? Like, oh, none of them. And for BYU, it was okay. Your last few games, your loss to Texas Tech was so heavy. Like, who did you beat that was top 25? Like, that's what this game creates. It's an opportunity for the winner to actually say, hey, here's another feather in our cap of why we should go to the college football playoff. I think this is mutually beneficial and great for the Big 12 conference.
I'm excited for that one too. Have they announced a date for it? The game?
I am assuming it'll be early because BYU is replacing Cal here. So either the Big 12. That said, I think the Big 12 could mix its schedule around and say, hey, BYU play so-and-so in week 3 and play Notre Dame in week 9 because Notre Dame's schedule is weird the way they do that stuff.
Yeah. I want to come too.
All right, we'll go together.
Who's hosting me and Drake to do a live do a live show from out there? Who's
earth-shattering? That would be earth-shattering.
Also, to the powers that be, please make this early. I don't want to go sit in any kind of weather. Like,
TJ, I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule here. They've got games already on the docket for September 6, 12, 19, 26. We're going to get a late season Notre Dame BYU matchup here,
which will be fun, but I need somebody to not only host us, but also get me some thermal underwear because I'm kind of a baby when it comes to this. Again, great move by Notre Dame, great move by BYU. This helps them both tremendously, and it gives a great data point. Honestly, for both of them, I know the quality losses only really help if you're SEC, but it gives you a data point of at least playing somebody out of conference, and it boosts your strength of schedule out of conference for both. Well, for BYU, I think this is a great move, and I'm super excited, and a little Pop-Tart guy is excited.
Nice.